Yeah, all right, there we go. Now we're live. Hey, folks, what's going on? Happy post Thanksgiving. I hope
Many of
you
you
all are
recognize
well.
this as a silver dollar.
Thank you so much for being here today. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple unforgotten mints. This was done by request. We had somebody that say, "Hey, Frosty, we want to hear about this Dahlonega mint. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's see what's going on." And I was like, certainly I can do that. No problem whatsoever. So Paula, unfortunately, is not feeling well. And so she's not going to be here today, which I know is a total bummer for her because she absolutely loves. But
Don't we all?
yeah, exactly. But Eric and I have talked quite a bit. We both have an affinity for this one, which is pretty cool. So it's fun to talk about these kind of things. I know there's a lot of people in chat who have um, spoke about this. We talked a little bit about this in Michael and Nancy's panel yesterday. So again, we're going to kind of go over this. And folks, I hope you're having a good day. How's everybody's Thanksgiving? What about you, Eric? How was your Thanksgiving?
Outstanding. Outstanding. Had a great time, relaxed, kind of rearranged the living room. Now I can search coins in my recliner again because I got good lighting.
Oh, beauty. That's always a good thing.
Yep. Going to help me out immensely so I'm not stuck in this office chair getting my back all mashed up.
Had
Save
a
it for the
wonky.
real work.
How is your back feeling? Is it any better?
It's not bad. It's actually getting better, but it seemed like the only time it was getting irritated was when I was sitting in my office chair. So my wife sewed me up a bolster, and of course, like I was telling you, I found out that my chair was all the way down to the ground, and of course, I'm 6.5 foot tall and 300 pounds, and that's not good for me. So I got it up real high, and I'm actually doing pretty good.
Oh, I'm always good when I never want to go there. uh, well, let's say hi to everybody and then we'll kick it off real quick. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, do me a favor, watch for a little bit. And if it's something that you like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, but don't do it yet. Okay. Watch it, see if you like what we're going to talk about. You're actually going to see me eat crow here at the very beginning of this for a minute. Frosty said something incorrectly, not an uncommon thing. However, I am very happy to report that I was wrong. And you'll see why here in just a minute. So, as you're what's going on, vote for Pedro. Siren, as always, I appreciate you. Siren, if I can have you do me a favor, I'm doing dual streaming today, so we're doing vertical and that. If you would be so kind as to post that link in the vertical mode over to horizontal, I would be forever appreciative of you. Thank you so much for that. Siren is an amazing mod, folks. So she's always looking at. Nana, what's going on? Larry Singh, how are you? Good to see you. Chris G, what's going on? Eric, as always, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Oh, love it, love it.
So
Look
I've got
forward
to
to
do
it.
this. Um, I'm gonna take my turn and I'm gonna eat some. All right. So what did Frosty say that was so wrong? Well, nothing that was truly wrong. Um, but you remember how we were talking about this? Let me find my Bait the Hook. What's up, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. If you want to watch this in horizontal mode, Siren just dropped that over there. So please go ahead and click on that. You come over to the other side and say hi to everybody else. That would be awesome. For some reason, I other window. Open this window, make it easier for my. I am having a issue. I can't find my other screen. And I heard somebody come in, but I can't. All right. Eric, can you hear me? I can't. I have lost Eric. Can you guys still hear me on the stream? Having a, yeah, it's lovely. There we go. Sorry about that, Eric. I could
Oh,
not find this goofy. Have you ever had
oh,
a window move off of the screen to where you could only see a sliver of the window?
yes.
Yeah, I could not find, I could not find this goofy thing. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? All right, so let me share my screen. Ay, ay, ay. So for those of you that are here for the very first time, I'm normally not this absent. You guys remember we were talking about these, right? And so as we were going through, I was like, this guy right here, Brandon Beach. If you've never seen him, he is the senator from Georgia. And he grabbed this coin out of the mint and was barehanded. Well, at the time, I told you that he wasn't wearing gloves when they did the photo op. Obviously, he grabbed his gloves. This is the acting mint director. Hopefully, she'll be confirmed soon. Is Christy McNally.
Heard it's going to be somebody else.
Oh, might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, she's not the one that touched the coin. And they're like, gone. I don't know why that would be. But anyway, I came over here and I was getting ready to pull this up, and I received a message from Paula, and she says, check it out. And Paula and I have done this before. We have contacted each other, and we were looking at the same page, the same site, same coins. And I was like, I just logged into that. Well, if you haven't seen this, this is the actual Stacks and Bowers thing for these 232. Okay, so number one, they said there were 5 coins that were pulled out, and these ones were going to go for 2 to 5 million. Well, that turned to 232. So people were like, were there going to be 5? Were there not? Well, there's 232, right? Bottom line, we now know that absolutely. That's what's on the Stacks and Bowers. And if you come down here to the very bottom, you will see that the very last cent is $170,000 right now. That's what the current bid for this is, okay? If you click on it, you will be able to see what's on this particular set. And you'll see that you have the coins and the Philadelphia, Denver, and gold dies that are canceled. You get all 3 of the dies, all 3 of the coins, the very last ones. But look at the grades. 69 for the gold, 64 for the Denver, or 64 for the Philly, 66 for the Denver. There's some of them where they're 63, 64. Some of the grades on these aren't very good. But I get to eat some crow. Why? Well, you see this? I said that I highly doubted that they would use this coin. I thought it was staged. I didn't think that this was going to be real. But hold on, folks. Hold on to your hat. Plug your ears. I'm going to swear. Holy shit. US Mint, you impressed me. Now, Brandon Beach will probably go down if it wasn't the acting mint director as the person who ruined the last Lincoln cent. But this was not This was not staged. That's it right there. We showed you the photo of it last week, said we'll see what the mint does. We'll find out what level of integrity is there. And I'm happy to report that the fingerprint's there. And so I will say good on the US Mint. I got to give them kudos for that, because that brings up my level of integrity. You guys might think I'm a little bit crazy saying that, but this really does mean something to me. This means they're running a clean program in my eyes. So I was really happy to see this, but there it is. We actually have that. And so anyway, wanted to share that with you before we started talking about the two mints. But anyway, have you seen that before, Eric?
That's the first time I've seen it. Like I said, I don't have enough money to even participate, so I don't even look.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't do something
no,
silly.
yeah, no, me neither. So, but yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. And again, gotta eat my own words. But I really am happy to say that the U.S. Mint did this. This holds integrity for me. I challenge a lot of things, because even though I know the United States Mint is not producing coins for the collector, that's not their job. Their job is to produce circulating coins and metals or other things like that. That's kind of the offsite aspect of that, is collectability, right? Eric, 5 gifted memberships. Thanks, brother. Steve looking for silver. Bo Palmer, Michael Jerry, Papa York, and Raul Duke, Raul Duke 8931. I'll get that eventually. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that.
Very welcome.
All right. So let's dig into the topic for today, which is Dahlonega and Charlotte. So I want to show a screen, and Eric, you and I were talking about this, and the discussion kind of leads us into what we know versus what we believe discussion when it comes to Dahlonega and Charlotte.
That's right.
Okay, and so we want to try this again. We want to preference this with an understanding of history doesn't always give us all the facts. And so what's important to understand when we look at this particular photo is that it might not be the Dahlonega Mint. It might actually be one of the very first images taken after the fire.
This is pre-fire, according to history.
So this is the college pre-fire?
Post-mint, pre-fire, yes.
Okay, pre-fire.
This is actually before the college. This is being used as a military garrison at this point.
Okay, so this is not the Mint, though. There are no known images of the U.S. Mint at Dahlonega. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Not while it was the Mint.
Not while it was the Mint. Okay. So anyway, they're just a fun bit of interesting information. But when you see images and they say this is the definitive Dahlonega, understand that there's a little bit more to it. I don't think there's actually, is there a photo of the Mint while it was the Mint? I don't think
there is not. There's one other photo. There's actually only 2 known photographs of the Mint building. There's one other photo taken in 1871 that has the first graduating class of University of Georgia something agricultural. It was an agricultural university.
And that is the one that has the
6 or 7 people standing out in front of it.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that is 1 year before it burnt down.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go from this into the story. Now, I'm just going to leave this up because it's a better picture than my goofy face. The Dahlonega and the Charlotte Mints were actually conjured, if you will, way before 18. And a lot of people may not understand how these mints actually came long before even the discovery of gold in there. Now, Azure's in chat. Azure and I have talked. Oops, you there?
Yep, I'm here. I
That
don't
was
know what
weird.
that was.
You bounced out, bounced back in.
Yeah, that's not, I think that was on me.
No worries. The one thing that's cool about um, knowing your history is in 1792 when they passed the Coin Act. They they had done something that set the value of gold. Now, Azure and I have talked about it would be interesting to see if they ever revalued gold. And what actually happened during this time frame was just that. It was actually a valuation of gold, and they rated it at 15 to 1. Now, this would be the onset that started the turn of events that would lead to them identifying the gold, building those processes up, getting more gold out of the ground, working with congressional leaders, and then coming to find out if we could get those mints in those areas. There's three, not two, but we're talking primarily about two. But this all started because of this ratio of 15 to 1. Because what happened during this time frame was that actually overvalued silver and undervalued gold. Why was that a problem? Well, because during this time frame, what was happening was people were taking and melting the coinage and sending it to France and Spain. Spain primarily because they could get money, metal, than they could utilizing the coinage in their own areas. And this was going on for 20 years, 25, 30 years, right? It was going on for a long time. In the 1820s, they said, hey, we've got to figure out something. We found out we have all this gold. The gold value is still bearing this 15 to 1 ratio. It doesn't carry any circulation. All of our gold coins are basically, dispersed, melted down, sent to other countries. How do we keep it? How do we maintain it in our area? And then cue President Andrew Jackson. We had a real big discussion about Andrew Jackson prior to beginning the topic of this. And Andrew Jackson was a great president, not very nice man, was good with money, made a couple sound mistakes, but ultimately set our path towards the standardization of the gold standard, the elimination of the gold standard, which would then detail and tell away to disconnection of silver. So all of this time frame spun up through these different myths. Well, how does that stacking history, as we would, how does that equate to what happened in Dahlonega and Charlotte? Well, all these pieces of gold were being distributed to these other countries. They wanted to keep it in-house. So in 1835, after a number of years of fighting with the legislator, Dahlonega and Charlotte actually ended up getting put into the act, right? So they did that 1835, along with New Orleans. Now, we're not going to be talking about New Orleans today, specifically because there's something cool about Dahlonega and Charlotte. They sprung out of necessity, but they also sprung out of the capability to further the economy of growing United States. That was because of gold. Now, New Orleans minted everything: Morgans, piece, nickels, dimes, quarters, pennies, you name it, right? They minted everything. They also minted coinage for other countries. So New Orleans was this hub of like Philadelphia, right? It was a Philly style mint. The Dahlonega and Charlotte only focused on gold, and so they were unique in that.
Yeah, well, you got to remember too that the New Orleans Mint had boat access.
True.
So you had the Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico, whatever you choose to call it. You could get ore that way and coins in and out that way.
And so did Philadelphia, but the
Yep.
problem with Philadelphia was that it was very expensive for the miners to ship it that way.
And that is why Charlotte and Dahlonega in general came, because there was a
Yep,
gold rush right there. It started in
exactly.
like 1799 and went to when they found gold in California. A lot of the miners in that area says, well, we're going to go to California instead of staying in the established mines they had that were producing well.
Correct. And a lot of people think that the first American gold rush was California, then Alaska. It was actually Charlotte, Dahlonega.
It was
I
from
think there was
Alabama
another one, and yeah, and then it
all the way
was
north
yeah.
through Georgia and North Carolina.
So there were quite a few gold rushes. We just happen to know the 49ers and then Alaska. And so, but lots of cool information when it comes to that. But Eric is exactly right. Discovering the gold and having to do that. This is the main reason was areas. Um, yep, that's fact. And it was found by a 12-year-old boy who found a nugget.
Yep, Conrad
Um,
Reed.
Conrad Reed. Um, Conrad, did you find us some gold?
And the
Um,
best part of that story is it was used for 30 years as a doorstop.
oh, and people today still don't know the value of their money.
Yeah.
I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Hey, a doorstop in those days was probably priceless. It was like air conditioning.
True. Did you see? Oh, speaking of air conditioning, did you see my how to fix your dishwasher short?
I I didn't. I
My
haven't
wife
had a
is
lot of time
my
to
wife
watch
is such a
YouTube.
good sport. Yeah,
Oh, all right. I got to watch it now.
yeah, it's
Oh,
funny.
I think I did see it.
Yeah, she
It's been out about 2 weeks, right?
just the day before, it's like the 23rd or something like that. So
Yeah, I think
not
I
about a week.
did. Yeah, all right. Maybe I did see it.
Yeah. So my wife is an amazing comes to, well, are we going to do that joke or not? And we were all dressed to the nines because we for birthday. But yeah, she's a good sport. Anyway, yeah, she smacked me over the head with a cookie sheet. Um, so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's funny. But let's get back to Dahlonega and
Right, right.
um, but yeah, there were ashes. Okay, copy. I'll get to that in just a second. Um, but yeah, it's amazing to find out that this gold rush started. A lot of people didn't know that there was a gold rush there. Of course, if you live in the area. And then they create the mints. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is that there weren't a lot of coins coming out of the mint for about 10 years. So it took a lot of time to spin up. Um, and in some of those years, you and I were talking about this, it seemed like only one mint was actually minting it.
Making coins, right.
And so it seems like there was kind of a balancing going on. And then after a little while, you started to see more and more and more about, um, the years that are doing the one, the 2.5, the $5 gold. You started seeing kind of steady mint. I think it was because of mint. I don't think it was they were ship it there, then ship it here. Because you were saying that um, California was sending more gold
After
to Dahlonega.
1851, both mints were getting more gold from California than they were from the region that they were in. And that was part of the issue of them becoming assay offices instead of mints. Not to mention the Civil War. They stopped producing coins in the Civil War, but after that, they never actually started producing coins again. And that
Yeah.
was because they weren't needed.
So I want to pull something up because something was just said in chat. And I'm so glad that you're aware of the history because um, I have this, and we were talking about gold in the region. Another thing happening during this time frame, Matt T, was the Bachelor gold. And this was something that there was so much gold in that area that local people were minting. This is something that I have up, and I appreciate you announcing that because, again, 1835 forbid foreign gold and foreign silver from standard, right? That was one way that we were keeping our local silver and gold handy. What they had not yet done, they didn't do this for a number of years, I think 365, something like that, when they said that the private minting of valid might be 73, could have been 1873.
That
And
link that
so,
I sent you, there's a great spot in that video where he talks about the bankers and he shows actual bank receipts from the assayer of, I believe it's the Dahlonega Mint, that's taking foreign gold coins and a bunch of coins from this mint right here, this private mint, and they get changed into U.S. gold coins at the Dahlonega Mint. Uh, so that's part of that video. Yes, if you get the chance, it's on Newman Numismatic Portal, and it is a program that was done at one of the fun events in Florida. They were melted and then restruck into U.S. coins. But they would give a receipt, and that's how they know that the volume of gold from California started outweighing the gold from the region, is because they required you to say where the gold ore came from.
so Luther was asking, was it overstruck or was it melted down?
It was melted and then remade into ingots and then extruded into planchets and then made into coins. And it even has been said that the people there's a receipt from a banker in Atlanta that he turned all these in, and then he got so many US gold coins back from the mint in return for it, which is interesting. I don't know if there's any proof of that besides the receipt, because there's not a lot of existing records from Dahlonega.
Well, yeah. And so again, and let me know if my sound is a little bit better. I'm having the issue again where I'm not sure what's trying to control my microphone, but Windows is trying to adjust my microphone. It thinks I'm being too loud. So let me know if that sound quality is a little bit better for you. Thanks, SC, for letting me know. Appreciate it.
It's weird. I never get that at all in my
I
end.
think it's only on the output. I think it's actually Streamlabs OBS that's trying to control my
Gotcha.
volume, and so it's forcing my um, my Windows volume down. I got to figure that out. But yeah, that's EMR. That's what SE Stacker was saying in the other chat. So I've got that open. I'm going to keep an eye out for that. So I appreciate you guys letting me know that. But yeah, so Matt T, going back to what you were saying, um, Belcher was doing this, and this is another thing that was happening during this time frame, was that those private mints, and there were lots of them that happened. What's going on, T-Bird? Good morning. Thanks for being a channel member. Really appreciate that. But they were overvaluing their gold. And so what was happening is people were still taking their gold, melting it down, and having them do this. They could get more money for their gold by selling it to the Belchers and purchasing this and trade for these. So these traded for more than the normal coinage. This is something that I've done a video about and actually talked about this process early in YouTube when I was doing this. So this is something that I really like. So I really do appreciate you bringing up the Belcher gold, because
And I don't think there's many of those left. Is there? There's
I
another
don't know
private
very
mint.
many. Yeah, I don't know very many.
There's another private mint that was brought up in that video, and he says, "Yeah, they melted down these to make U.S. gold coins." And he says, "Can you imagine? Because the coin's worth like 15 times what the most valuable U.S. gold coin is worth." Uh, but they were doing that though, to get U.S. gold coin, U.S. backed gold coins. There's, like I said, there's a receipt that's still around that they put a bunch of these Beckler, or I think they, is it Beckler or Belcher, or I'm not sure
Yeah,
how.
it's
No,
Betchler.
Betzler. All right.
Yeah. Hey, Ashes C1 and David Carlisle, thank you guys so much. Woohoo! Member for 5110 hours. If you guys
Wow,
don't
that
know what
makes it sound so big, doesn't it?
5110 is, an important thing. Um, so yeah, cool stuff. Thank you guys for being members. I appreciate you all. And again, Eric, thank you so much for dropping the gifted memberships.
Oh, I love it.
So let's dig into some of the other stuff that's here.
You keep me around for a reason, and that's probably it.
No, I enjoy the company. You guys, we talk about this all the time.
I know.
Me, Eric, Paula, Mike. It's just fun to get up here and do this. We really do have a lot of fun just chit chatting about coins and talking about histories and stuff like that. It's a lot of cool stuff. So we really do enjoy this. And we also like giving each other a lot of crap. What happened? Oh, I'm moving stuff around because I clicked on the wrong thing. All right, cool. So let's get back to the Dahlonega. All right, and I don't need to show this anymore. Let's pull this down for just a second, or just shift it over for just a second. But one thing that did happen, and again, we talked about this representing the fixing the ratio. Kind of forgot where I was at. We went off on a big tangent, by the way.
Yeah, that's the story of my life.
Yeah, we tend to do that. But getting back to Andrew Jackson, one of the things that he did, which was really good, and again, Andrew Jackson was one of these guys. He's the only president to ever pay off the debt. The guy knew money. He was smart with money. He understood what was going on.
And he hated debt.
And yeah, he did. One of the things, and I told Eric before, I said one of his comments, and I've tried to find the exact quote, but it basically goes something like this. I will not trust anything that is promised me. I will not own anything that is promised me. Meaning that money can't be a promissory note. It can't be something. It's got to be that physical, tangible item. So he was all about the gold and silver coinage. He was all about having that physical, tangible asset. And so he was like, debt is a sin. It's a bad thing. It's going to ruin the country. We need to get away from that. We need to try to do that. So he really did understand what was best for our nation.
And he didn't believe in promissory like bills. Because
No.
at that time the Treasury wasn't printing bills. They were like banks were printing promissory bills.
Yeah, he absolutely hated the fact of anything promised. Right? It's like, no, it's if we're going to do a business deal, we're going to shake on it. If you gave him business issues, he would challenge you to a duel. I think he's the president with the most duel wins ever. Tells you a little bit about the man,
Well,
right?
he died of old age, didn't he?
Yeah, he lived a pretty long life. So he was a tough dude. But he did a lot to actually help our nation. And so I think a lot of people don't really understand that they owe Dahlonega and Charlotte to Andrew Jackson. But even despite all of that, again, Civil War started, and they started to have a lot of issues with war. And earlier, Eric talked about the fire, and he also talked about the fire at the records office. There were 2 fires at the records office, and it happened both times they changed hands. And if you think about why, well, land, money, they don't want to know who the previous owners were, right? And so they would normally torch those offices. They would write up their own land receipts. They would write up their own money receipts. They would take on and build their own book structure. And then they would take that money as the people retreated south. They would take that money back to the south. But during this time frame, one thing that did happen is, and we don't know the total amount of gold. We've seen some estimates, but we don't know the total amount. But there were tons and tons and tons and tons of coins that were melted down to be turned into gold ingots, gold bars, and then, like Eric was saying, later turned into other coinage. And so one of the problems is that we don't know how many survived in each of those mintages. We have some information. But that's one reason that the Dahlonega Mint and Charlotte fetch so much money, is because we genuinely don't know the mintage. We have good ideas, but it's also a known fact that when you look at the and we talk about this all the time, PCGS, NGC, CAC, when you look at the mintages of graded coins, that's only an approximation because we don't know how many of those coins have been cracked out and cracked out, cracked out, cracked out, hoping
And
for that better grade.
that's right. A lot of the people that do this as a challenge, I know a fella that has cracked one coin out 5 times before he got the grade. If
Yeah,
he's
and
doing it, there's hundreds of people doing it.
exactly. And so we don't know a really good representation of the mintages that are there. And again, we do have some ideals, or some ideas. We have some estimates, and there are ways to kind of gather where things are at. But again, it's going to be very difficult for us to really know how many of those that there are. Now, one cool thing about this, one thing that's really interesting to look at when you're looking at Charlotte and Dahlonega, however you guys want to say that, is that the coins themselves. Now, I'm going to pull up. I know I have images of where I set that. Oh, that's closed. I hate it when I do that. I think the person who put the dash, the box, and the X in the same corner with font this big should be beat. They should have put the minus and the dash on the other side, and then the X on the opposite side. Now I got to go figure out where the heck this thing is. All right, here. Oh, I don't have my Charlotte Dahlonega. That's okay. It's easy enough to put. So one cool thing about this is knowing the mintages of coins and knowing the kind of the coins that are out there. But the one thing I want to do for you all is to show you the mint marks. And we're going to do this coin right here. And why is this important? Well, if you have grandparents or things of that nature that have gold, that maybe collect, and you're going to like the piece that I show you. It's not the one I want. Eric knows the one I want.
You want the one everybody wants.
I want the one everybody. And I also am very understanding, very realizing that I will never own one of those. But it's still a cool dream. So what I want to do is I want to show you this, and this is something that's important for you guys to kind of take notice of, and that's the D. The D mint mark. Again, Denver wasn't founded until what year?
Oh, I'm not sure. I know they first started doing cents like in 1914. But they were here. They were around before that. 1890 something. Let me check.
And so, if anybody in chat now, you look at this, you can see some die wear. But again, you're seeing that Denver mint or that D mint mark. Look familiar? Maybe. Yeah, serif might be a little bit different on this one. Well, when you look at the mint mark, they believe that it was the D in United, which is here, was used, and it was different in the D in dollar, or it was the D in dollar and different from the D in United, depending upon what camp you come from. I actually, looking at it more, think it's the D from United, but it wasn't actually a D mint mark. That's the one that they utilized because that's what they had. 1863 first coins come from the Denver Mint. Perfect. Thank you.
No, that's that. From what I just read from the U.S.
1906.
Mint, it was Denver became a mint in 1895, and the first coin was struck in 1906.
Okay, so Neil just dropped the same thing. 1863 first.
It was an assay office in 1863. So people were dropping their gold off coming back from California.
So they could have actually done it in 1863, but they didn't open as an actual mint.
Yeah, and they didn't even strike the first coin. The first 8 years, they were considered a mint.
Gotcha. Okay, tracking. So, but it's important you guys know this, right? And again, if we're going to be looking at that, to understand what you're looking at with the coins. So again, if you see a D mint mark, it doesn't stand for Denver. Has Denver ever minted gold?
I don't know.
I don't think they have. I don't think Denver has ever minted gold. So if you see, and if anybody in chat can correct me on that, if I'm wrong, then please let me know. I don't think Denver's ever minted gold. I really don't think they have. Yeah, it's curious because whenever you say something absolute, you're going to be wrong, right? So, Luther says yes in 1906. Of course. Yeah, they had. Okay, I didn't know that they minted gold. What gold coins did they mint? Because I did not know I did not know that. That's interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it says that they minted the first year. They minted 2,132,000 gold and silver coins.
Interesting.
Doesn't say what they minted, but
Well, if it's 1906, then I mean we're gonna have to go look at
here,
$1
yeah,
gold and interesting. What's going on, Kane? How you doing?
yeah, I don't know for sure. Oh, from 1906 to 1931, they produced a variety of gold coins, including $20 gold double eagles.
Oh, nice, cool.
They were used for banking settlements in large international deals. So they were kind of like $1,000 bills, $500 bills. Those weren't made to actually be in the public hands. They were made for bank to bank trades.
So if you have one of those, it's probably one of those cool, really cool things too. So the demint mark in general is probably a cool
Made
thing.
half eagles and eagles also.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, if it's before 1861, it's Dahlonega. That
That's
I
correct.
can say without question. But the other one again is going to be the Charlotte Mint. And again, if you're going to do that,
There's so much stuff to even know. I mean,
yep. And then there
so
again in
many
the
little
same
obscure
location,
facts. Yep.
there's your C Mint mark, your Charlotte Mint. There's a lot of people who haven't ever seen a Charlotte Mint mark. Pretty worn reverse. Let's check out this one. Yeah, that's a much better image. So much cleaner, much nicer image. So this is one that you would see 1855, which was a pretty common year for the gold $1. It's actually, you'll see 1854, 1855. But 1855 was a really unique year in that they had 1, 2.5, 5, and they had them from Charlotte and Philadelphia mints. So there were multiple coins minted. I'm not sure if Dahlonega was 1855 or if it stopped at 1854. There's one year where all three of them were done. 54 or 55. I think it's 55. But anyway, just they're really cool coins, but they do fetch premiums. And when you're looking at higher grades, again, I'll just back out of here and pull down kind of some of the prices you're looking at. And again, you're talking AU, 8 grand, 55, 15 grand, get up into MS 61, 35 grand, get into 63, 60 or 60 plus, 65 grand. So again, in high grades, these things are bank. So if you do have grandparents and things of that nature, or older people in the community that collect, sit down with them, go through this stuff with them. Yeah, exactly as and make sure they know what they have, right? This is the integrity, service before self, commitment, courage, honor. That's, these are the tenets we live by, and to make sure that, people really understand what they have, because these things go for tons of money, tons and tons and tons of money. And I'll go back to the demint mark. We'll look at the Dahlonega. Again, 1855. So it is 1855. There's all three. I thought it was that. Check this out. AU 55 is 57 grand. Okay. Let's get up here to 63. 64 is the high. Quarter mil, not bad. So again, grades matter when you're talking about these. Obviously, we talk about rarity. Now, rarity is important, but sometimes grade dwarfs rarity. What's my favorite example, Eric?
The $3 piece.
Shall we show it?
I got a good question. What is the smallest coin ever made in the U.S.? Are you aware of that? You're going to
I
get two answers.
I do, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give chat a question,
Yeah, you will get.
but
We
I'll
were
tell
going to
you the clue is probably in $250,000.
get maybe. No. See, that is what people say. The 3-cent silver is by weight the smallest at 0.8 grams, but it's a 14 millimeter coin, and the $1 gold type 1 is 13 millimeter gold or 12.9 millimeter.
So, but there's
It
actually
is in
one
fact the
even
smallest size.
smaller.
It's the smallest sized coin ever produced by the U.S. Mint.
The 25-cent gold piece is the smallest gold. It's the smallest coin.
Oh, that's
Go check that one out if you guys have
25
never heard
cent
about that.
gold piece.
Yeah.
25-cent gold piece.
And for those of you that want to know the coin that him and I are talking about, this is my gem. This is, there's only 3 coins that would fetch higher than this. One of them is the Stella and the Panama. Those two would fetch above this one, but this, I just love this coin. Everybody loves this coin. But we'll talk a little bit about why.
Neo Dynasty. The Trime is 14 millimeters. The $1 gold piece is 12.9 millimeters.
Steve, we're talking about U.S. coins. When you get into the 120th, you're talking about the
Now,
Royal
in
Mint.
terms of weight, the Trime is 0.8 grams, so it is smaller in terms of volume. But a 25-cent gold piece, I'm looking at them. They don't look smaller. They look pretty small, though. Let's see. Here's a good thing. Wikipedia has nothing on that. Oh,
1869, 1870 time frame.
I found a picture of one.
Yeah, they're itty bitty tiny.
They're small. Let's see. See, but that's not U.S. Mint. That's California fractional.
Yeah, but that is for the U.S. coins, that is the smallest one. So, but if you're talking U.S. Government cent, then yeah, it's going to be the Trime. But anyway,
Nope,
again,
it's the $1 gold piece type 1.
Okay. I know it was gold, but I can't remember which one it is. I'll
Yeah,
quit
the
talking now.
Trime is, and it has to be the smallest Trime is the one that was made 75% silver, because not all Trimes are 90%.
Where did that?
This doesn't give a. I would love to know the size, because that's pretty small there too.
I'm trying to find the gold piece, and I can't find that.
You're talking about the fractional?
Yeah, I had another coin up that I was trying to
It's
show.
BG712 is the actual catalog number. 1869. It is a fractional gold piece, and it's small.
Yeah, there's some really cool pieces. We can get that back down. But anyway, yeah. So when we talk about the coins that were coming through here again, it was just it's an amazing thing to look at some of the prices. So when you're looking at Charlotte and Dahlonega, again, it's make sure you understand what the mint marks were. Now, at the very beginning, we started talking about what happened to the mints. So, do you want to take Charlotte or do you want to take Dahlonega?
We pretty much did Dahlonega. It burnt down in 1872. It ended up becoming a college before that, and it's still a college. I think it's University in North Georgia.
Yep.
Uh, in Charlotte, I mean, the building is gone. I guess there's remnants of the building in Dahlonega, and you can take Charlotte. I got a couple neat little facts about Charlotte, but I don't know as much about Charlotte as Dahlonega. Oh,
Well,
one about
good.
Dahlonega. There is a piece of history of the Dahlonega Mint. There's not much you can ever see, and that is the actual weights and measures instrumentation. That is on display at the Gold Museum in Dahlonega. And that is the only known actual artifact, I believe, out of the Dahlonega Mint.
That actually remains because everything else was destroyed in the fire.
Yep.
Yep. So we talked about what the Dahlonega and Charlotte mints were. They were meant to handle the domestic gold, right? Talk about the recycled gold coins, stuff that was coming in from California.
And that the end of their existence, both mints did that more than they actually did refining
Yep.
gold from their own areas.
So starting in 1849, they minted the first dollar coins. They did that until 1861. Now, in May of 1861, it went into the hands of the Confederacy. They seceded from the Union, took the mint. They did continue to operate, but it was very limited scale. More of what they were doing is they were minting coins to take south. So they were melting coins down, putting them into bars. Again, we talked a little bit about that. The total coins, and this is the one that I did, and I told you I pulled some numbers on. In its short tenure, the Charlotte Mint produced 5 million in gold coins. The $1 to the $5, mostly low thousands in the mintages. The highest mintage, 1852, of 72,000. Some of the years of productions barely reached the 5 figures, meaning that they were under 10,000. And the 1851C, which is the mintage of 41,000, is the highest mintage.
Another interesting fact.
That survived.
Just
Go
come
ahead.
up randomly. I don't mean to tangent
No,
off
it's okay.
on it.
Go ahead.
They never made anything bigger than a half eagle at either mint, and the reason for that is their steam. Everything was powered by steam engines at that point. They could not produce enough steam to run a large press, which you needed to run full eagles and double eagles. They only could use a medium and small press, which is why they never minted anything bigger than a half eagle there.
Right. Well, and again, like Eric said, they were turned into an assay office, right? So they were an assay office for a number of
Charlotte was an
years.
assay office for a long time.
Yep. And then 1913, basically the gold ran out. Now there's still gold in Charlotte. We'll talk about that here in a little bit because you told an interesting story.
That's
fun.
a great story.
And so we can pull up some information on that. But it was an assay office until 1913. And then in 1931, they built a post office. So they actually destroyed the building.
Didn't destroy it. They gave the Women's League 1 year to move the building, and the Women's League did it. So the building is moved 2 miles from its original place.
Well, but they demolished the original one in 1931 because they built the post office.
They didn't demolish it. They disassembled it.
Oh, okay.
And then they reassembled it 2 miles down the road.
Oh, okay. I got you. I see what you're saying.
The building that is there, well, it's not the original location. It is the original building.
Cool. One thing is, if you ever go to the Charlotte Mint, they do have a complete set of each of the coins that was. So,
the coin museum, the gold museum in Dahlonega does have that also for Dahlonega.
Really cool stuff. So, but a lot of neat history with these particular mints. And again, I've done videos on it. We've done more live streams on it. There's a lot more information, but I want to leave time for some question and answers and kind of general chit chat. But so Neil was one of the people. There are 2 or 3 people that asked for this almost at the exact same time. But Neil, thanks for doing this. Thanks for asking. And again, the more that you ask these questions, the more I get to do some research and pull some stuff out. And I love doing this one. Eric likes doing it. Paula likes doing it. Mike Nodelman loves doing this kind of stuff. He's just like me. He's a storyteller as well. And so, yeah, history's tons of fun, brother. So let's go ahead and open it up to everybody and ask your questions. If you did questions, again, folks, I was looking at probably 30 sites and images and all sorts of stuff.
The Charlotte Mint story after the
yeah, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and talk about that. You want to start going through that?
Yeah, before the Charlotte Mint was actually a mint, they used to they were an assay office and they would ship all their gold to Philadelphia. And they used to say, there's a saying that the roads in Charlotte are made of gold. And the actual story behind that is they kind of are. They would get these carriages, and when they would get huge ruts in the road, they would fill it with the gold mine tailings, because in those days they couldn't extract the gold out of the tailings efficiently, so they used it as road fill. So that's why they still to this day say that the roads around Charlotte are made of gold. And I guess when they find routes, they pull tailings. There's still gold in it. There's a great thing about that in the one numismatic video. I don't think we got the link for that, but if you go to the portal and search like U.S. Mint, they have all sorts of programming on it.
Yeah, and I put the other one in there before.
That's a great one. That's a must watch.
So if you guys haven't subscribed and gone over the Newman Numismatic portal, again, go check that out. A lot of great information. Tons of knowledgeable people. The experts speak there, right? And so a great place for you to learn a lot about the history and how things work, what was going on. Neil says vinegar pulls gold out of sand. Yeah.
You hear little things like that, and it adds, I guess it adds real life to the coin collecting,
It does. It does.
The 12-pound nugget, Conrad Reed. That they credit him with the start of the gold rush, when really it kind of wasn't. It was just a thing that happened.
So Luther asked a really interesting question. Did the U.S. Mint strike script money for mining towns? I don't think that was the U.S. Mint. I think those were local banks. I think the local banks were doing their own script.
And that was part of Andrew Jackson's problem. He didn't like that.
He didn't like that, right. Yeah, because again, it was promise of payment. And so a lot of people, there were good things about it and there were bad things about it. One of the good things about doing the script was that they believed they would be less prone to theft, because if you took it over, then they had the serial numbers and stuff on there, and people would be able to find who turned it in, right? What bank did it come from, about what time frame, and then they would learn who was in the town and be able to identify the potential people that were looking at items of those elements. That was one of the original intents. The problem is that the thieves still took them. They were smaller, but they were prone to things like fire, or being lost and blown away in the wind, or if a horse threw you and you fell in the river, they could wash out of your pockets. Whereas gold would sink to the bottom, and you'd have a better chance of finding it in your area if something like that had fallen into a creek or a light riverbed. And so there were good and bad about it, but Andrew Jackson was not a fan of anything promissory.
And really, I mean, when was the first Treasury note? I mean, when you have U.S. government notes, but I think the first Treasury note, let's see, was in the 1900s. 1861. Those were bearing for the Civil War.
1812.
That's different.
1812. First Treasury notes. This is off the Department of Treasury.
Oh no, that says 1890. Authorized by the U.S. Treasury Note Act of 1890. Paid for the purchase of 4.5 million ounces of silver as required by the Sherman Silver Purchase Law of 1890,
So the first bills, according to the
produced by the
Treasury
U.S.
Department.
Treasury, so like a national bill,
Yep.
not a regional bill. Oh, it says 1913 was the actual first Federal Reserve bill.
Well, the Federal Reserve, obviously, we know that. That's a given.
Right.
Anybody who knows about the gold standard and the pulling off knows 1913 is when they screwed up our money. But
But you
this
see
was
bills earlier, they're
bills went all
usually
the way back
printed
to
by banks.
1775,
Yeah.
Second Continental Congress. We just didn't have the mint at that time frame, but bills preceded that a long time ago. Bills were around for a long time.
Oh, yeah. But they usually said, we'll just say Bank of Chicago, Illinois would have $1 bills printed out.
Well,
You see a
Luther
lot of banknotes.
Jackson is on the 20, not by his doing.
Yeah, that's right. But it's
That
irony,
came
isn't it?
way after. Yeah,
It is irony.
it is. Yeah, it definitely is. And that might have been a cruel joke played by people who didn't like him.
I like that, Neil. Yeah. I've watched a couple of the Home Depot sand videos.
Oh, where they pour vinegar over it and they pull the gold out
No,
with the.
they just pan the gold right out of it, just in a pan in water, bucket of water.
Oh, interesting. So, what other questions do you guys have? We've got. What time is it? 8 or 9:30?
It is 9:31.
Let's go through. Let's see what else I've missed. Again, I've been trying to monitor both chats. I haven't done a vertical stream for a while. See, I have to watch both of them.
The play sand at Home Depot and Lowe's, Bill. You don't get much, but they find it. Like I said, they find a couple little, pieces in it.
Oh, Neil did a video on how that. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was doing my laundry and stuff, the dishes this morning, I was listening to that Dahlonega video, and it went into gold mining the Mississippi River.
Oh,
And that guy says that you can make 67 cents a yard, or no, point 0.6, it's 6.7 cents a yard in the Mississippi River. There's that much gold in a yard of dirt.
so there was one question. Real quick, I've got to go back. I don't know if he's any of you here. Ashes, are you still here? I know I told Ashes that I would answer a question for him. I told him we were going to finish this discussion prior to
That's right. I remember that now.
jumping ship. And it was
I'm
about
seeing a
a
lot of squirrels.
video. We had a lot of squirrels. Yeah. Um, oh yeah, a yard is a lot of dirt. I think people forget about how much dirt a yard is. My neighbor ordered 6 yards of dirt, and I was like, well, for what? Are you digging out your entire yard? And he's like, no. I'm like, oh my God, I don't realize how much.
Well, I can tell you, I spread 2 cubic yards a month ago, and my back is still out.
Yeah, well, it was it was a lot of dirt. And he was like, can I just have stop? And they're like, they had 4 trucks there. And it was like, oh my goodness. Do you have any idea what you just did to your like, where am I going to put it all? Yeah. So anyway, Ashes wanted to ask a question about the video that I put out yesterday. It was about Penny Watch, the dropping cost, how much it's worth. I don't know where he wanted me to go with that, but I will say this. Again, folks, please. I saw this again on one of the channels within our community. $100 for a box of Lincoln Cents from 2010.
That's not super terrible. That's not the travesty like's going on with other dates.
1,500 for 2025.
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, no, folks, don't do this. You're never going to recuperate that money.
And the weird thing is before this 232 Omega cent or whatever they're calling it, these boxes were selling for a couple hundred and they weren't selling. Soon as that information came about the last struck cent, within a day they were $500. Now they're 1,500. People are paying it. Uh, in it just kills me because I will venture to say that they will be under $100 in 6 months.
Oh, yeah, they're not going to hold their value. People forget there is 1.3 billion cents that were produced. Half of
Yeah,
them in Philadelphia, half of them in Denver. Give or take 40,000, the numbers are that,
yeah.
right?
It's
It's not a huge number. Um,
1960D cents. There's a Coin World article from back in the late 90s that said there will be 1960D cents available for 65 cents a roll at any coin shop forever. They were wrong, of course. But everybody loves looking at 60D cents. So they did go up in price, especially when you find real bank wrapped rolls of 60D cents.
well, but you also have
But
to understand what's on a 60D cent, right?
right, but the reason that everybody saved them, like Luther was saying, everybody saved 58, 60, 59, 60, 61. That's why the mint marks were removed in 65, was
Yeah.
because people were hoarding cents by the box and by the bag. So,
Yeah. And again, here's the thing when you hoard them like that, okay, we have to go into the philosophy or the theory of are they going to be selling cents? You and I both have our theory on that.
yeah,
Um, Ashes probably had to take off. He probably had to
I'm
bail,
a
especially
hoarder.
if he's working.
If you saw how many rolls of pennies I have, it would make most people just shiver
So
in
I want to
fear.
answer a question that's in the vertical stream. It says, everyone, there's a topic that I want to address, and that is what is truly rare and collectible? I hear the 1909 SVDB, but it's not rare. Proof Barber received it as much rarer. And so when you're
What is much
talking about
rarer?
key dates, okay, there are mintages of coins that are smaller. Absolutely.
Oh,
And
tons,
you have,
especially from colonial eras and Civil War time. There's a lot of dates that are more collectible, but do people collect them?
and that's
Can
that's the
people
thing.
collect them?
Sometimes they're obscure. There's interesting thing about 1909S. A lot of people don't realize that 1909S had two pennies in it. The
That's right.
It was the Indian head cent and the Lincoln cent. Um, if you like history and you realize that in 1909 the Great White Fleet returned, they returned back to 2 cents being on the menu earlier and later in the year. Um, the 1909 VDB was very controversial. Victor David Brenner, they removed it. It became a type change within that year. That's why you have 1909S VDB and 1909S. And so they are smaller in mintage than any other coin in the Lincoln cent. And then you also have exactly EMR, the conditional rarity. And we talked about that earlier when we talked about when we talk about Lincoln cents. It's the one that I really like to use, the 26, right?
26S, yeah, in great condition. That goes back to a 16D Mercury dime.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, Finding a really good condition 16D Mercury dime is hard because times were tough. They used those coins until you couldn't read the date on them anymore.
So Kane wants to
14D
know,
pennies the same way.
yeah, Kane wants to know, is there an actual scale for rarity? Hey, teacher,
There is.
what's up? There is.
There's
There's
two of them.
actually two. Um,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily align with each other. They
They're
do, they
kind of
go up and
opposite.
down. Yeah. Um,
One's university rarity scale, and you'll see URS 0, URS
yeah.
1. URS 0 means like 3 to 5 examples.
But just because a coin is rare doesn't always mean that it'll fetch more money than a nice condition coin. Okay. Now, what I'm going to take from his statement is that people don't necessarily understand the term rarity. And I talk about that all the time on this channel.
But you know,
People
a lot
miss
of people want complete sets. We'll just say Jefferson nickels.
yeah,
There's no super rare Jefferson nickels. A 50D is the key date. Uh, so you got all these Jefferson nickels, and you can get almost every. You can probably get every single one coin roll hunting in some condition. You will have a difficult time finding a 50D. But yet you can go buy a uncirculated example for $20 to complete your set.
exactly.
Collision cent is the same way. Everybody wants that complete set. So that's the 1909S, that BDB. That's the coin. That's the hardest one to get. Uh, you know, everybody says, you know, 31S. People don't realize 31S, the mintage is less than 14D, but it was one of the coins like 55S. People stuck them in their drawer because there was something about the San Francisco Mint.
Oh, Eric dropped again. He'll be back. There he goes. Wi-Fi dropped.
Wow.
You
I
were
wonder
you were roboting a little bit during
Oh,
that.
sorry about that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have
all
to
good.
reboot everything, I think.
No
But I was
worries.
talking about 31S. Uh, you know, it's less. There's less minted than 14D, but 14D is worth more money.
Yeah, and I think that I think this person has a fundamental misunderstanding of stacking. Siren sent a
But
floating
it's
heart for 10
collectible. You know,
jewels.
I
Thank
want a
you.
full set of Lincoln Cents. You got to have
Well, but
09
here's but
SPB, 31S.
let me finish the statement and you'll
Yeah.
understand what I mean. So the comment is if we stack them, we're going to have over 400 of them. And so this guy doesn't understand. You're not stacking 1909s. This
No, and I
isn't.
would venture to
There's a
say nobody has
misunderstanding here
400.
of what you're doing. Yeah, it's again. Okay. First off, you're not going to be stacking coins that are 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 15,000. You're just
Yeah,
not going to
most
do it.
people are lucky to have
You
one.
may have one. Yeah. Again, so be aware. Okay. The other thing is when you're looking at these coins, people are looking at them for sets. They're not trying to buy large quantities of them. But I will give you this warning. If you have 400 of them, they're counterfeit.
I like that Invisible
Just
River Ranch AG1.
if you're not a
She's not
massive,
wrong.
if you're not a massive global shop, um,
Even they
just
don't have 400 of them.
yeah, just
They might
they're
have two,
probably counterfeit.
four. Yeah, the AG1. There is a group of people that
Oh, it's
collect
nuts.
readable date coins
It's
that
nuts.
grade 1 on the grading scale.
Yep. Yep, it's
It's
nuts,
great.
and it
And
is
they make
a
big money.
it is a serious thing. There is a lot of money if you find the right coins in that grade. There's a serious amount
We
of money. And
actually found 2 of those on Frosty's stream, Luther.
you have one handy? Pull it up.
Let's see. Do I have one handy?
Yeah. But again,
Oh,
and so I get what you're where your mind's going, but if you have 400 there, yeah, again, I may be reading your comment wrong, but
oh, look at that. I still have them on my desk.
not likely. So you didn't accidentally drop one into my package?
No, they're sitting in the exact same spot except they're in a flip.
Yeah, this was pretty cool. I was extremely excited
I
to have these
yeah,
appear
I
just
really
out of that
freaked
roll.
out.
That was cool.
I haven't found these in a roll in 20 years, and I found them twice in 6 months now.
And they all came from the same general place. I still have to go through this roll. I still got this freaking thing sitting on my desk. I might
All right, let me share the
go through
screen.
this today.
We found stuff in there. I forgot what we found in those rolls. There is RPMs in those rolls.
Yeah, I'm really
There we
looking forward to that. Oops. Oh, come on, you rotten turd. Open up. There we go.
That's it right there. That
Dun,
coin was
dun, dun,
actually
dun.
found in on Frosty's stream, so you can go back and see where we're searching coins. That was found in one of the
And it was
rolls.
like, whoa.
Yeah, because we
Oh,
were finding another double die in the rolls, double
yeah,
die number 3.
that
Let me
was a
see. I'll get
fun
one of those out
search.
too.
That was a fun search. We found a lot of cool things in that.
All right, let's see. Oh, here's that one.
Yeah,
That's pretty impressive double die.
it is.
And it, yeah, we found that one.
See that as a 6. You see the bottom of the 1. You see
Oh
that.
yeah, you see it right here. I'll show. It is a small over large date. You see the mint mark, the extra mint mark there, and upper serif.
Yep.
Then you see the small 9, and then the large 9 and large 6 behind it. Of course, the O is the best part, the 0.
0, yeah.
You see that, but then we found this one in the same hunt, and I think I did send you one of these, didn't I?
Your stream's cutting out. I think he's going to drop off again. I think his network is.
No, I see ya.
Well, we weren't hearing anything just a second ago.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay.
This is another one. I mean, it's
And
kind of a
which one is that
huge.
one?
This is double die number 3.
I
Uh,
think you did send me one of those.
yeah, and you can see it up on top right here, and then you see it in here. I mean, it's like a triple die obverse. See it up in here. That was the other one. So yeah, go back and watch that stream for sure. Let me shut this down. All right, and we're back.
Yeah, he said that I misunderstood his comment. He said if you stacked them, there'd be over a 400-foot stack of 1909 SV. Be about a stack going to be about 8 feet high for the same year barber. When you're talking rarity, a lot of people utilize rarity because it's a selling tactic. It's a selling
Actually,
tool.
Luther, it's opposite of that. The
Hold on,
double
Eric. Let me
master
finish
die.
this conversation
Okay,
first, please.
sorry. I thought you were done. I'm
No.
getting excited about stuff that I actually know about.
Yeah, it's okay. The one thing that's important to understand, yes, people say that a coin is rare. It's not necessarily a conditional rarity, or it's not necessarily a rarity at all. It just means it's harder to get, and people utilize a lot of terms in the English incorrect. So no, you guys, it's fine to chat. Please do so. I just want to make sure that I'm answering the person who's new to the chat. Again, we need to encourage people to ask questions and comments. So I want to make sure we address that. Thank you so much, Brian Lee, for subscribing. Appreciate that. But again, when you're talking about a coin like this, you're talking about a coin for the most collectors. They're only going to be able to have one, right? I don't even have one. So the premise of anybody trying to be able to stack these is slim and none. If you have people with tons and tons of money, then you're going to have people who can find them. Now, Eric, we have talked about this a long time ago. 1914 Ds, right?
Yep.
There used to be way more available and for way cheaper. You used to have
They were. I
tons of
used to
them.
sell lots of them. Yeah. But they were never in good condition. They were always like VF35, stuff like that. There was a lot of them in very fine and under. That was my point. Even 1909 SVDB, a lot of people stuck those away. So there's quite a few examples from a percentage standpoint that are in good condition. Same with a 31S. For some reason, people stuck them away. 1955S. There's rolls and rolls and rolls of them. Back in 1960, if you look at the old gray sheets from the 60s, they cost ridiculous amounts of money. These coins did. And now they're $15 a roll because everybody saved them. Matter of fact, if you're looking through wheat cents, like a circulated bag of wheat cents. 55S is one of the harder days to find because people saved them because the San Francisco Mint quit minting coins that year for circulation. So everybody saved all the S Mint coins. Same theory about the 58D, 58D wheat cents, 59s, when people started printing the coins. It's the same thing. It actually started in the 50s, earlier 50s.
You're roboting a lot. I don't know if you can catch that.
All right. It's probably my internet. I'm going to have to go through and see. That means I'm going to have to do my stream later, I think. Because I actually got a warning on my.
Oh, low
I've never seen it
threshold, low
before.
audio. Yeah.
No, on Restream, it actually come up and said that I had low bandwidth.
Oh, yeah. Then there's probably something going on there.
But it's not doing it now.
It's in and out. Yeah. It kind of happens whenever. When you were trying to show your screen, we heard nothing.
Oh, well, it wasn't important. I was just telling them to go back and watch the stream on yours.
Yeah, so it's poor 1, fair 2, AG 3. That's how the scale works. So Po 1.
Yeah, P1.
Yep.
So, and like I say, there's huge collectors for that.
Which is strange to me.
Yeah. Well, there's collectors for everything.
There is. I mean, there are people who collect all. Well, I mean, Chuck collects license plates, right? From the cookie or the cereal boxes. So it's amazing what people collect. There's a Ida Herring. She does she loves Pink Panther, right?
Yeah.
So it's people collect all sorts of weird stuff. Or fun stuff. I shouldn't say weird. Only weird to some of us. Cool. Any other questions? Yeah. So, and again, Samir, I appreciate you engaging in this. When you talk about rarity, if you want to know about genuine rare coins, then you're going to want to talk to people like Harlan Burke, Aaron Burke. Those two guys are really good to talk about genuine rarity coins. We also have the Coin Show podcast. Mike and Matt are very knowledgeable about ancient coins. There's a number of people in our community. Now, as you earlier asked a very good question, and I did not get back to you on this, and I apologize. And that was, where do you find these coins? There's a number of people who collect them, but if I'm going to be looking for genuine Charlotte or Dahlonega coins, I'm going to be going to somebody that I absolutely know is reputable. So there are 3 places I would go. If I'm going to go with the larger places, if you know people that work at a bullion shop or a large company, go with who you know. You may be able to get good deals and find stuff like that. But I always go with my trusted sources. I have people in the community. I have community that I go through, talk with certain people, use your network. If you're serious about finding a rare coin, or you're serious about looking for something very specific, ask the question. We will get you connected to the right people. People who will give you the assessments, the prices, and then allow you to make up your mind. They won't push you, pressure you, or anything. They'll tell you what it costs. They'll tell you what it's available to you. And then you two work it out. I have nothing to do with prices. I have nothing to do with getting anything from any of these people. It's just good community.
And so, your due diligence too. I mean, there's a lot of fakes out there, but there's a lot of resources for detecting fakes.
Yeah, and we
back to Jack Young and Jack Riley and stuff like that.
Well, but even Jack Young and Jack Riley have their gold guys, right? They have the gold folks that they go to.
Always go to somebody you can trust.
When we're talking varieties and errors, I go to Paula, I go to Eric, I go to Chuck, I go to I I just lost Amanda. There's a lot of people that I know who do really well in certain areas. And when it comes to gold, if I'm buying pieces like this, it's going to be most likely Harlan J. Burke that I'm going to get my stuff from. Or it's going to be known places like SD Bullion, AppMex, something of that nature, because they have guarantees on their stuff. I probably wouldn't go to places like Littleton because I don't buy from them, but that's just me. Doesn't mean they're not a reliable place. They are. They've been around for a ton, but I just don't buy from them. I have other people that I utilize in my.
They have a lot of coins, but they are a strange business. I went to a couple shows that they were at. In both shows, they were not selling coins; they were only buying.
Well, and
Uh,
again, they turn stuff over. They do really good at that. Um, but I've never dealt with them. Um, it's nothing negative. It's nothing bad about them. I just don't use Littleton. That's one reason is, again, price usually is what it comes down to for me. But I have looked at AppMex. I have looked at sites on channels that I support and looked, and I found better grades for better money almost every time. So
that's right. I mean,
I just don't go through them.
Littleton, a lot about coins. I've had the pleasure of being in the coin business, and it was a pleasure. It took away from my hobby. It took away from what I like to do.
Yeah, yeah, and you've
And
explained that. Yeah,
I can tell you that Littleton probably has their overhead and expenses is probably way more than most coin shops are. They have employees they got to pay. So they probably do have to charge more money for their stuff.
yeah,
And people don't understand that. Even the stackers, a lot of people say, well, silver's at, we'll just say $50 an ounce. How come you're not giving me $50 an ounce? Well, I've got light bills to pay. I got to pay the help. I got rent. I got
I
insurance.
explained that the other day to a friend of mine, and I'm like, look, you cannot expect that a dealer who owns a brick and mortar shop, just because your friends can cut you a deal, they would run out of business,
Yeah, they got to
right?
have margins in
They've
both
got to be
directions.
able to do that. And so I know you want the best deal possible, but you cannot expect that of people. Now,
And you can get great deals.
there are people who will hook me up. And if I'm looking for something, they know I'm serious about it, I have cash in hand, they will hook me up. They will give me better deals. But I don't expect that of them. If they're willing to offer it, very rarely will I ask somebody, what's your best price? Because
Heck,
the people I deal with usually give me fair price.
that's right. I was at my LCS and he was actually selling silver under spot because he had a glut of it. And I said, so are you buying and selling is it one way or the other? He says, no, actually, I'm doing both ways. He says, but I had to adjust my margins to keep it like that because I'm guessing he doesn't use refineries a whole lot. He just depends on it coming in and out. And he says, so it's been good, but he was actually selling some stuff and it wasn't really nice stuff. It was just like generic rounds that somebody had handled and stuff like that. He was selling them under spot. They were still worth silver price.
Yeah,
They're still
so
silver, even though they got fingerprints all over them.
let me address a question with Bill real quick. Um, if an ancient coin is rare here, it doesn't mean that it's rare overseas.
Oh,
Um,
that's a whole nother bag of worms.
yeah, but let's talk about the word rare. Um, when you're dealing with an antiquities dealer, which is Aaron Burke, Aaron Burke deals with antiquities. Aaron Burke deals with people across the globe. Um, if you don't know who Aaron Burke is, then you really haven't searched anything on ancient coins or foreign coins or gold coins or anything like that. Aaron Burke and his dad, actually his family, his sister, brilliant as well. Um, that's what they do. And so when you ask them about rarity of an ancient coin, they're going to tell you the actual rarity of that coin. They are not going to take a coin that's Roman, that is commonplace there, and sell it as a rarity here. That would
And there's,
destroy them.
like I said, there's a whole different caveat to the whole thing. You can have the same coin from the same period, and the dies were all made by hand. And one of the artists that made the dies could be great, and the other one, it could just be like a rudimentary little thing.
This
And
is why
one is
in the
worth a
end,
lot more money.
this is why in the antiquity grading scale, it's not just the luster and the strike. It also comes with a design. So there's
Yeah.
also the presentability aspect of looking at that. And that's something that when Aaron Burke was on the channel, he talked about that. Vote for Pedro. Thanks, bud. I appreciate you dropping that in there.
I encourage everybody to go over to the Ancient Coin podcast and start
Absolutely.
at video number 1. Video number 1 is actually number 2 on their list because there was some discrepancy and they had to repost number 1. They didn't post it or say, so start from number 1 because he gets into a lot of this stuff in the early episodes that he doesn't get into in the current episodes.
Yeah.
So, and it's great. It's information. I can only take it in little batches because it makes me want to do things that I probably would regret, which is start hoarding ancient coins.
Well,
Yeah.
and again, when it comes to stuff like that, I had known virtually nothing. I know some of the history, but I don't know the histories of the coins. I don't know how they tied into the histories that I know.
Yeah.
And so having somebody like that on really allows for those stories to come to life because they know the details. They can tell you that there were 4 different people that were striking hammers during this time. It's really cool. What's up, Joe? Good to see you, bud. And again, just because we're talking coins doesn't mean everybody likes the same things. You talked about collectability, right? We have people talking about silver medals and medallic art. Not everybody likes that stuff, but there are people who collect it. And so it depends on what subspecialty of the genre you fall into. And you're going to pay the prices for that, right? And so if you're a penny collector, then some of your key pieces are going to be SVDB. It's going to be the 14D, the 31S, the 22 No D. If you're Mercury dime person, it's going to be the 21D. It's going to be the 16D. It's going to be the 42 over 1. You're looking at those things that interest you. So again, when you're talking rarity, yes, is a conditional statement. It should be more rare than the others or highly desirable. Desirability is usually what that means. And leave the rarity for rarity. But desirable just doesn't ring a bell with people. And so people don't utilize that language, even though it's proper language. Because again, the desirability of a coin is not necessarily the rarity of it.
And like I say, there's a lot of factors what makes something desirable.
Yeah.
Look at, we'll just say on a penny, 60D RPM number 1 or RPM 100. They're not exceedingly rare, but yet they're valuable. That's because they're cool. People like it. There's like a cool factor. They're in the cherry picker's guide. You can see them basically with the naked eye. There's a lot more than just, well, they only made 375 of them to why they're collectible. Just like there's some things that are very minor that aren't collectible, but yet they're in the same genre. You look at me, my collection of Lincoln Cent RPMs now is over 2,000 different cataloged RPMs. And I'm not even close to having them all. Some of them, there's very few, they're very hard to find. Yet they're not worth, what, $5?
Yep.
You
So
know,
that's the Ancient Coin podcast. That's the actual list to that playlist. So you go check that out. That's Aaron Burke's actual
there is
link.
so many
click on that
rules
one.
to ancient coins. There's pedigrees. there's certain dates. If the coin
Yep.
was taken out of the ground before certain dates, it's legal to own. If it's after the date, it's actually contraband. You can get in trouble for owning it.
And that goes back to the provenance of the coin.
Yeah. So saying that there's a lot of them here and a lot of them there, you still got to know where the coin comes from and if it's even legal to possess it.
And the provenance of coins is also counterfeited in many cases too.
Yeah.
So you really need to have people that know what they're talking about when it comes to rarities. But again, if you're going to be looking at something like that, you really need to be around people who know that stuff. And Aaron Burke and Harlan Burke, they are by far the best, especially if you want to talk about those ancient rarities.
Like I say, start from
Brilliant,
episode
brilliant
number
people.
1 because he gets into these little factors about what makes certain coins special and what makes certain coins not so special.
Well, and that leads to another question that Samir is asking. And Samir, I appreciate all the conversation. I really do. Thank you so much for the insight.
He's on the vertical side, I'm
Yep.
taking it.
It says, how do we know the status quo will survive 50 years? How do we know the future collectors are not going to prefer the seated and the bus series? You don't. You don't.
That's right.
Right. And again, things change with times. The other thing that changes with times is the discovery of hoards. We've seen that a lot where we thought that one particular coin is worth a ton of money, 1901 or 1903S or whatever the one is.
Yeah.
I can never remember the number for that, but
I think it was 1903, 1904. I don't know which, but yeah,
one 1903, 1901, somewhere 1904, somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah.
But the point was, it was a $15,000 coin, and then after they found this hoard, all of a sudden, it's a $800 coin, $1,000 coin. And so there's a lot of things that affect that. If you're trying to estimate where it's going to be, if you're trying to identify a market based off of the limited understanding of that we have, it's a fool's errand. If you're going to collect for, and I say this loosely, investment purposes, you had better be buying the conditional rarities, because those are the only going to be the ones that really hold that that one. And again, you look at a bunch of different coins that 1903. Oh, thanks, Jack. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where that's one of the most extreme. There are other ones, Samir, as you pointed out, but you can't speculate on what's going to hold its value. Again, even silver and gold, they're speculative for that particular nature. You never know what's going to happen. It's amazing to look back at things and go, you know what? Nobody really wanted the telephone. Nobody really wanted the internet. Nobody liked electric razors. Nobody thought they cut us close. Nobody liked the thought of having a cell phone, because really, I mean, like, this will never catch on, right? All of a sudden now they're leading the technology push. We never know what's going to take. We can make educated assumptions and assessments based off our knowledge of the subject. But again, it's just one of those things that you're never going to know. Oh. I'm getting the notification that you're having bad.
Yep, I'm back.
Yep.
Sorry.
The yellow screen popped up on mine too. So right before you dropped.
I never saw that.
Yep, right before you dropped, it popped up and then you fell off. Interesting. So yeah, and again, numismatics is just one aspect when it comes to the collectability market, and we talk about this all the time, right? But again, it's just, you shouldn't be utilizing numismatics as an investment anyway. You can use it to help along with hedge diversification of your portfolio, but you shouldn't be buying coins to invest in.
I like to comment earlier. I got into ancient coins because I'm a history buff. I got into coins, period, because of history.
Well, Eric, you and I talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Right. We have two types of conversation. before Paula, Eric, and I, before the streams began. Some of them can't be aired.
Right. Yeah.
Some of them just
Eric
can't
fighting
be
with
aired.
Paula. Eric arguing with Paula.
They are beep, 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 beep. Did you see this? Beep, 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 beep. Did you? Yeah. So some of them can't be aired, not necessarily because of the profanity, but because of what we talk about just in general and calling out BS. The rest of it is history. Did you see this? Hey, have you heard about this? Did you look at this? What does this say? Do you remember that? Well, we look back at this. We were checking this, talking about, looking at this. People who love coins usually love history. And it's because there's so much potential packed in that little itty bitty thing. When you look at these are counterfeit Lincoln cents or Indian head cents. There's a lot of information to these that make me go, I wonder what the people are like that were creating them. Did they come from a little small hole in the wall? Where did they come from? What's the history of these? Who created these? I understand why they were created. I understand their intent.
And like I say, Frosty, there's counterfeits that were made because, let's say, Morgan dollar. They were making them for 75 cents and getting $1 for them. And they worked. I mean, the Henning nickel, the guy made a bunch of nickels.
Yeah.
And it wasn't I'm sure it was because he was making them for 3 cents and getting 5 cents for them.
Well, yeah. And so here's the thing. We understand why counterfeits exist, but it's still fun to look at the Henning.
Oh, it is. And look,
it's an amazing freaking story. It's still fun to look at the Racketeer nickel. It's an amazing story.
Yep.
It's fun to look at the Omega Man. They're amazing stories. We still don't know. We have ideas.
Right.
The 1959 mule cent, we have ideas. We have discussions. There's a lot
war.
of, yeah, you know what I mean? There's a lot of cool things that come from knowing the history of it. Yeah, and so
cigarette packs.
Yeah, there are so many cool stories to numismatics, and so we wanted to take some time, and I'm definitely over time, but I wanted to take time and talk about the 2 mints that had been lost. Talk about a little bit about their history. Remind you what the mint marks look like. Samir, I appreciate you commenting so much in chat. Luther, again, Invisible. Neil, you all had a great conversation. I love the stuff that's on there. Joe, I don't know if you got to see the 1960 that Eric flashed
That's what he
earlier.
found. That's what he found the other day.
Oh, that's what he found the other day? Outstanding. Yep. So they're surfacing, folks. You can find that stuff. You just have to look, right? And so, well, the Hennings went, boom.
I got a friend that searches nickel boxes just to try to find a Henning. There you go. That is probably a great theory, especially during the times that a lot of those were going around.
Joe Cronin. You guys want a good book on the Henning nickel? That's the one to get. Phenomenal piece. Signed it for me. Nice guy. I would like to have him come on and talk about these. Guys know who edited this too. Pretty smart cookie.
Did she really? I didn't know that.
She did editing for him. Acted as his editor. A lot of stuff corrected some. Yeah. Our very own Miss Paula talks about some new finds. So this is a great book. You guys can find it, get one. I don't recommend a lot of materials because we have so many good channels that I let them recommend it, but that is definitely.
I was saying in chat, Frosty, we should do maybe in a month or so a New Orleans mint
So
episode.
I do want to do a New Orleans mint because, again, remember, Delana was gold, right? That was specialty, important. But I want to make sure that we look at a couple different things. One, I want to talk about the variety of that mint. And I got somebody telling me that yep, sure enough, it dropped down again. Sorry about that, folks. Hopefully that's a little bit better. But I hate that it does this. I think I'm going to have to leave this goofy system sound thing open and leave it in a micro window up at the top. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's driving me nuts. But yeah, we can definitely do one on New Orleans, and I think that'd be fun.
And actually do it on all of them. Just don't do them at week to week to week. Do like one a month or something like that. There would be good stuff for even Philadelphia and Denver.
Yeah, and again, the other thing that I want to do. Matter of fact, I'll talk to you as soon as we hang up here. I've got an idea of something I've wanted to do. It may shift a little bit based off this conversation, though. And I think it'll play into your uncommon sense thing.
That I'm going to start that.
I know.
By the first of the year.
You need to get that going, and I have an idea for you. Am I streaming anywhere else on YouTube? No, I primarily am on YouTube. I will link it to the other channels that I have, but no, I primarily stay here on YouTube. I need to expand and do more, but I'm not doing it yet. But I do appreciate you being here, and I appreciate all the comments. Again, I love having people that talk. Funny story, actually. Will do. And if you want to know who wrote that, it's probably Jack Riley himself. So, yeah, absolutely. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed, I know you're a subscriber. I appreciate you subscribing. Share out the channel. I appreciate that. And again, trying to grow it. My goal is to get to that big 10K mark, and it's a slow, arduous process. All right, folks. Well, hey, I am going to wrap it up and get out of here. Eric, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for the 5 gifted membership. I do appreciate that. Set this down here. Folks, all of you, thank you so much for being here today. I hope you guys had a wonderful Turkey Day. If you didn't, go see them. Go check out the 2 shorts that I did with my wife. Just a little bit of joke. We're going to be doing more of these. Her and I had a conversation, and what I want people to recognize more about my channel, and we see this with some, but not very many. I want people to realize I'm a normal person. I'm like this with my wife. I'm like this with you. And so we're going to do some silly things and have fun, and we're going to talk shop, and we're going to talk turkey, and we're going to, just make the channel fun. And we already have a lot of fun. Eric, Paula, Mike, we have a great time here. But I want everybody else to know, hey, EMR's like, poor lady. She is an amazing sport. I am blessed in that. Normal is such a strong word, Frosty. That's true. That's true. I am. Yeah, that's true. Was a Batman, Catwoman. The normal people scare me. It's the committed ones or the insane ones, because they're committed to something or something like that.
That's right. They're committed. That's right.
They're committed. Yeah. So, all right, folks. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. Eric, stay on for just a second because I want to drop down what I was talking about. We're going to be here tomorrow. No topic as of yet. If there's a specific topic that you do want to talk about, please make sure you let me know. And I want to say a thank you to 2 people. They have really had a lot of information. What's up, Sam CB? Good day, sir. How are you doing? I want to thank Vincent Vincent has engaged me in some amazing conversation, much like my buddy Azure. We talk once a week, twice a week, chat quite frequently. Good man, man of faith, loves this country, knows a lot about money, knows a lot about investing, loves the silver gold community, loves this hobby. Um, and I'm getting introduced to people who are just really solid people. Um, and Vincent was one, but Jackknife is somebody who came in and when we were doing crypto and dropped a breadth of knowledge to try and help out during a very unfortunate incident with one of our other fellow channels. And I learned a lot about act and integrity and how it's managed with people in chat. And I want to thank him for something that doesn't quite happen very often. Somebody who utilized the platform to help the speakers, to remind them to get back on track, to do some stuff, to be gracious enough in the fact that my questions are not getting answered. I know you guys are having a lot of discussion. This is a question, let me reframe it. I've posted it here. It was done with tenacity and tact. We don't see tons of that. I see it a lot in my channel. There's a lot of people here who are good for chat. They're good for conversation. They're smart. They're knowledgeable. But Jackknife took chat to a different level in another stream, and he's brought that over into our channel. So if you see Jackknife, say thank you, welcome him. Much like Luther, much like Vote for Pedro. I was going to say Angry Warrior, but he's an asshat and just made fun of me. So I'm not going to say it angry. But no, there's a lot of amazing people that are in here. Eric, you, Paula. But he's one that's inciting a lot of questions about how I manage stuff and how I look at stuff, trying to grow things for the channel. So again, I want to say thank you, Jackknife, for being willing to do that. It's hard to do, and I do appreciate it. You're welcome, Sugar. Angry such as not. All right, you guys, I appreciate you. Take care of yourselves. Be well, be blessed, and we'll see you later.